That's a beefy summary, and welcome to Route 616.
For
all fans.
You turned
Marvel
it on
main
when I was
continuity.
looking to.
I'm not sure if it got it, but it might have just picked up me repeating
I
what
hope
you said.
it did, because that would have been fucking hilarious. Because I had no clue I was on the wiki.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 38 of Route 616. We actually have Dan this week. Holy shit.
Hi.
Hi. So, I guess before we get too far, we should announce we are going to be recording our bonus episode for the month where we talk about our favorite video games, and we will have the guest star of Moira back with us, so come back for that, because that will be uploaded between tomorrow night and Sunday, so come back for that one. But for today's comics that we're going to talk about, it's an interesting week of comics. That's the word I'm going to use. We're going to start off with X-Men issue number, what is this, 7?
7.
Issue 7. Then we are going to go into Journey in the Mystery, starring Thor, issue number 109, which has 2 stories, an A story and a B story. And then we're going to go into Strange Tales number 124, which has a Human Torch and Thing story, and then a Doctor Strange story. And then we are going to go into, of course, Fantastic Four number 30 to end the night off.
And you do realize that if anybody ever actually watches this, they're going to be really pissed at you lying to them about this. You know, we've got this really great list of stories and all we get is a huge pile of crap.
They said interesting.
They're not interesting.
Oh, I'd say
they're not
interesting.
Fun. They're not anything but.
Well, one of them's fun, but besides that,
I had fun with 2, 3.
You're lying.
Actually, I had fun with 2 of them.
You're lying. Bill gets
but
that.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, enough references that Ryan doesn't get.
I think safely, the type of people that are going to watch this podcast are the type of people that would enjoy these comics.
That's terrifying.
That is sad.
That just suggests that there's somebody out there that would enjoy these titles.
Well, we enjoyed them enough to do a podcast about them. And you were just dumb enough to tag along without having read them.
Yeah, no kidding.
No kidding is right.
I probably have more teeth than brain cells. Yeah.
That explains the Liverpool fandom.
I didn't even everybody congratulate Dan, by the way, because reaching triple digits this year.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm so
tired.
tired.
Using a base 10 system.
I'm so tired. That was my funny intro for you, and I just said you were here without doing the funny intro. But anyways, let's get into the X-Men issue number 7, which is titled "The Return of the Blob." Everybody's favorite. This, of
Actually,
course,
the Blob is pretty great. It was just that first issue that was awful.
I liked him in the first issue too, but yeah. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby title, of course, and we have inks by Chick Stone, who is helping Jack on the cover too, and Artie Simmons on letters. This is a July 1964 release, and a 22-page story, and we'll pass this off to Bill.
And so this will be channeling the Marvel Wiki, because I've gotten spoiled by not having to think of my own summaries.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Right.
It actually
is. It's hard to go back.
Professor Xavier takes a photograph of his students during their graduation. Afterward, he informs them that they must continue their fight against evil mutants without him, while he takes care of some unfinished business. He tells his students that he will select a new leader from amongst them soon. Across town, at another mansion, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants regroups. Mastermind and the Scarlet Witch are the first to arrive. Mastermind offers the Scarlet Witch a life of luxury, but she refuses since she cannot stand him. Magneto and the rest of the group arrive. Back at the school, Professor Xavier asks Cyclops to accompany him to a previously off-limits section of the school. There he shows Cyclops his invention, Cerebro, which is used to detect mutant brainwave activity. Cyclops wonders why a telepath, such as Professor Xavier, would need such a device, so Professor Xavier informs him that it was intended to be used by the new leader of the X-Men, Cyclops. Cyclops questions his mentor's decision, considering Angel's aggressiveness and Beast's intelligence, so Professor Xavier informs him that it is because of Cyclops' leadership abilities. Apparently whining is now a leadership ability.
Oh, Spider-Man should be leading the Avengers then. There you go. beat you to it, Dan.
You're taking his Spider-Man jokes. Now what's he got?
Being old.
The next morning, the X-Men awaken to learn that Professor Xavier has already departed. They congratulate Scott on becoming their new leader. The group goes to New York City that night to celebrate, but Scott refuses, saying that he has to stay and monitor Cerebro. At a carnival, Magneto seeks out the Blob, suspecting that he is a mutant due to his inability to be moved by an elephant or a cannonball. Magneto tries to perform a mind probe of the Blob, but is stopped by a mental block put on him by Professor Xavier. And we get a footnote reminding us that this happened in X-Men number 3. Suddenly, the Blob's manager appears and tries to fend off Magneto, not wanting him to talk to his client. Magneto orders the Brotherhood to attack the carnival workers. They all run off, leaving Magneto alone with the Blob. Magneto orders the Blob to join the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. At first, Blob refuses and attacks Magneto. Magneto then magnetically lifts pipes from under the ground, hurling the Blob through the air. The force of impact from landing loosens the mental block on his mind, and memory returns. Wanting revenge against the X-Men, the Blob agrees to join the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. At the mansion, Cerebro's alarm suddenly goes off, alerting Cyclops to the Blob's recent activities. Cyclops tries to contact the rest of the X-Men, successfully reaching Warren. Warren gathers Hank and Bobby so they can meet back up with Scott and Jean. Magneto challenges the X-Men to a fight at an abandoned factory. Cyclops' leadership skills quickly show as he leads the X-Men in a successful counterattack to everything that the evil mutants throw at them, including missiles. With the X-Men standing together, Magneto fires a second round of missiles at the group, even though the Blob is standing next to them. The X-Men hide behind the bulky villain and let him take the full force of the missiles. Magneto orders the rest of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants to retreat, seeing that his plans have failed. The X-Men offer to help the Blob since his teammates abandoned him. The Blob refuses, telling them that he's fed up with fighting other people's fights and that he just wants to return to the carnival. And that's it.
Yeah. That's right.
Just like a true carny.
Yeah.
Gotta work the marks, brother.
Exactly.
It's similar to a story that they did before where they had a carnival character and he decided he was done and returned to the carnival, isn't it?
That was Blob.
Yeah. Didn't we already cover this story then?
That time didn't have Magneto.
Yeah, exactly.
That's totally different than I got you.
Yeah. It's not as bad as the Loki story, so I can...
I don't know. This is pretty low-key.
Oh.
Oh, man, I'm on a roll.
Something I missed last week. Anyways.
Well, we had better comics last week, too.
He's aged a year and his jokes haven't gotten any better. But
Please.
Anyways, gave this a 3. This was a solid 3. This was
a comfortable 3 for me as well. It's actually pretty fun, and despite the main plot hitting relatively similar beats to the last outing with the Blob, the details of the story actually make it fairly distinct.
You're right.
Of course, those details get omitted for the most part from the summary.
Well, yes.
Because that summary covered about 12 pages of a 22-page story.
So
there was a fair bit
the
of
other
side
10 pages
stuff
were not worth talking about, apparently.
It doesn't advance the main plot at all, but it was mostly fun stuff. And
we
some
missed
that
a lot of
aged
Cyclops.
poorly.
We missed a lot of Cyclops questioning himself being leader.
He's allowed. We question him being leader.
I would have popped if Iceman was leader.
Oh, that would have been great.
Couldn't have been any worse.
Anyways, let's move on to good old Journey into Mystery.
Let it go.
Well, Marvel will let X-Men go at some point, but anyways, we'll get to that in the future.
Not for this comic.
Journey into Mystery issue number 109. We're starting off, of course, with the A story. Well, I say of course, but there will be times we aren't starting with the A story. When Magneto Strikes is the title of this one. Stanley and Jack Kirby title yet again. Chick Stone yet again helped Jack Kirby, which is great. Chick Stone is a really good creator, really good inker. Sam Rosen is on
I
letters.
don't love him on Thor.
Yeah, not the best for Thor. August 1964 release, 18-page story. And I will take this one. Dr. Donald Blake visits a local fair where a statue honoring the Norse alter ego, his Norse alter ego, is on display, along with statues of other heroes from the New York City area. He is flattered and even gets invited to visit the opening ceremonies. Meanwhile, in a hidden craft, in brackets disguised as a floating log, in New York Harbor, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are attempting to locate the secret base of their foes, the X-Men. Learning that their enemies are in New York somewhere, Magneto sends Mastermind, Toad, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch, who, by the way, I don't think we see them in this issue.
We do.
Or do we? We do see them, we don't see the X-Men.
It's a running joke that you never see the X-Men.
Yeah, because they come into play later. So they're sent to the city to locate them. Launch them in the submersible craft. Magneto uses one of his new devices that causes many metal objects in the city to suddenly float in the air. Among the many panicked people witnessing the strange phenomenon is Don Blake, who, after the abrupt end of the event, seeks to locate its source as Thor. Using his hammer to track to the source of the power, Thor stumbles upon Magneto's hideout and confronts the Master of Magnetism. Thinking Thor is a mutant, Magneto offers Thor a chance to join him and enjoy his vast wealth. When Thor refuses, Magneto attacks, separating Thor from his hammer in a steel room long enough to cause Thor to... Oh my god, how many times do I have to say Thor? To revert back to his mortal guise. As Donald Blake, he barely avoids all of Magneto's traps until Magneto is distracted by a distress call from his minions, who are...
Banana.
That's what I was thinking of. Who were requesting assistance in a battle against the X-Men. Taking advantage of this free moment, Blake recovers his walking stick and changes into Thor. Thor resumes his attack on Magneto, easily overpowering the foe, who manages to escape to a lower level of the craft, where a proton bomb is stored. Magneto is about to use the bomb to destroy Thor, but suddenly he is stopped and chased out of the ship by the X-Men, who, again, we don't see. We never see the X-Men. They're in the story, but we don't see them. So Thor technically doesn't meet the X-Men here. Thor observes Magneto escaping in a submarine with the X-Men in pursuit and finds the ship's escape hatch. He discovers that the X-Men saved his life by rendering the proton bomb useless. He doesn't know who saved his life. He just sees an X on a submarine. Thor exits the craft and uses his power over the storms to destroy the ship, then returns to the city. Magneto eludes the X-Men and speeds off to rejoin his comrades. While back in the city, Thor resumes his mortal guise and pays a visit to Jane Foster. She feeds him supper and the two go for a night on the town.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Right. And...
this was an issue of Thor without it, Magneto.
But it's over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This had some really good points and some really bad points.
One of the bad points was the fact that it exists.
Ever the optimist.
Oh, absolutely. No, just stating the obvious.
We haven't even gotten to Strange Tales yet.
Oh, you just wait. You just wait.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I mean, my rating might be slightly hampered by the fact that I was in the hospital rereading it, and this was a good pick-me-up, but I gave this a 4.
Yeah, it's probably a little inflated. I gave it a 3. I really enjoyed a lot of it, but I couldn't get past the fact that Thor didn't beat Magneto. The X-Men beat Magneto without ever even showing up on panel.
Yeah, that did bug me a little bit.
It's Thor's book. He should actually be driving the action, even if he doesn't win, because it's fine for the hero to lose. But they should be driving the action.
But... Hey, you're not wrong.
That's Dan's summary.
No, you're not wrong. But I guess the problem is, if you're going to put the X-Men in the comic, put them in the bloody comic.
Yeah,
right? It's not like
that's the part that pissed me off more.
Here.
Except, I was more pissed off that they weren't in the comic than the fact that they beat Magneto.
Right, because I kind of
thought that was a little bit of a funny gag, that they were always just off panel.
It's more funny to me when you think of it as the fact that you can't even claim that this is the first time that Thor meets the X-Men, because he doesn't.
See, I would count it. Because they were in the same room.
He didn't even realize who they were. He just saw the X on the submarine afterwards or whatever.
Comic continuity has counted stuff for less. There's an issue of Deadpool that considers it the first appearance of Ghost Spider because you see her reflected in a car window.
Okay.
I know this because I owned that issue, and I was trying to figure out why it was inexplicably worth like $80 versus any other issue of that run.
Bill was trying to figure out why they had a comic worth money all of a sudden.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, I have some. I have Into the Spider-Verse #2.
Nice.
Or Edge of Spider-Verse #2. Whatever the one with her first full appearance is.
Yeah,
the
you
one
got
that
it right.
Keeps getting stupidly expensive.
I have nothing to say about this.
I used to have it before I traded it.
Of course.
Anyway.
Of course. Oh,
anyways,
can we move on to something exciting and interesting? Finally.
No, we can't. We're moving on to disappointment.
Yeah, we are moving on to disappointment with the B story of Journey into Mystery issue number 109. One of the worst Tales of Asgard so far. See me.
I believe this might be my least favorite Tales of Asgard from the entire run.
Wow. Stanley
There's
and
one
Jack
other
Kirby.
one that's in contention for it, but I won't spoil what that one is.
Stan and Jack back at it. Vincent Coletta does inks here. Sam Rosen on letters. And this is a 5-page story. Let's get into it. Wow, this gets 2 whole paragraphs. That's crazy. For being involved in a duel against Odin's wishes, Thor is banished from Asgard, much to the protest of the warriors of Asgard, who need Thor's strength in their continuing battle against the mountain giants. Learning this, Arkin the Weak, cousin of Loki, travels to a mountain ridge to inform Queen Norda of the mountain giants, in brackets, in an attempt to win her favor. Norda and Arkin plan to attack Thor while in his exile from Asgard. Later, while traveling in the mountains, Thor is attacked by the army of the mountain giants, led by Norda and Arkin. Thor tricks them into traveling into a box canyon and escapes through a cave, which the giants cannot fit in. Traveling up to the top of the canyon, Thor is reunited with Odin and the warriors of Asgard. As it turns out, Odin banishing Thor from Asgard was all part of a plan to ferret out the traitor leaking information to the mountain giants and trap their foes. Arkin finally gets his wish to be with Norda for the rest of time, only trapped in the canyon. Meanwhile, the warriors of Asgard ride back home, victorious. The end.
Bum, bum, bum.
So that actually, the synopsis made that better, but...
In itself, it's not a bad story. The problem with it is it's basically exactly the same gimmick they did last month.
So it's a bad story.
Yes.
I
but
just didn't like
if you
this
took
one.
it without any of the surrounding stories, it would work.
And I don't know. I didn't hate this, so I gave it a 2. But
Yeah, I also gave it a 2.
As far as fillers go, it's not horrifying.
No,
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just really boring.
It's not a Watcher story.
But it's a change. It's a change up. One of the things they do accomplish. The one thing I think they tried to set out to do with, if we need to fill these pages, let's at least fill them with something that's not exactly the same as what came before it.
Yeah.
Right, and that made a difference because I remember as a kid reading a comic book, and if you had another story at the end of the main story, even if it was only 4 or 5 pages, if it was different, it was worth it.
Yeah, and that's been my big struggle with the making it through the end of the 50s in my read-through, is that they really only have, like, for any genre of comic, they have about 4 stories.
Yeah.
And they just move around
Recycle
a couple
them.
of pieces and tell the same story. So even though basically everything I'm reading is like a 1 to 4 page comic, and so I can knock out like 60 a day, my reading rate isn't going up that much because then I end up taking like 5 days off because I'm bored of all the same story.
Over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it loses its quality because you're reading so many of them, and they're all the same thing. So you're not really soaking it up. You're not really remembering it. It's not leaving an impression.
No, and that's definitely a problem with this era of superhero stories that we're still in, that they're all very formulaic.
Yeah, and I think this is probably one of the biggest problems I've got. And, I mean, it doesn't matter what title or what company you're reading. This was endemic to all of them at the time. Right, and Carlton suffered this a lot, where this, especially with the war comics, where it was just the same story over and over again. They just changed the names, maybe changed the location, but it's just the same story.
Yeah,
It's like the Marvel romance titles that Bill's been wading through.
Not just the romance, the Marvel war comics do that too. They'll have all the stories set in Korea, and then they'll tell flashback stories to the World War II. And all the heroes from Korea fight in the Pacific Theater in Japan, or in World War II, so that they're fighting the Japanese, so that all they have to do is change the uniforms and they can use the same story again.
Yeah, yeah. And that was, like you say, a lot of companies were guilty of this back then. Now, when they started coming out with things like Sergeant Rock and Sergeant Fury and the Losers and stuff like that, and, the Unknown Soldier, they started to change things up a little bit, like Gravedigger.
The Unknown Soldier, my boy.
Oh, I like Gravedigger. I thought he was great, but it did at least give them a little room to come up with something a little more interesting, a little different. But
we're right now. We're right on the precipice to when it starts to get more interesting in the superhero stories, because they start to go with the ongoing narrative.
Which helps.
Like right now, they'll do 2-parters occasionally, but they're still basically standalone. Stuff will happen, and then they reset the status quo at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Or at the end of the story arc, and then we start from there again, just do the same things. There's been no character growth with any of the characters at this point.
Yeah, there's no real follow-through on any of it.
No. And very soon now, they're going to start doing the continuous stories where, it's a lot of villain of the week for a bit, but the surrounding stuff starts actually mattering.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be lots of episodes coming up. Some I assume that it's gonna be like one title in the episode, or maybe we'll get split between 2.
I find the big turning point is when they add the backups, like the proper backups to the tales. And
Strange Tales.
Well, Strange Tales always had it.
Astonish.
Strange Tales always had it with Strange, but we get Captain America and we get Hulk. And we
I was just thinking of replacing Human Torch with Nick Fury when I said that.
Yeah, but by that point they've already got it going pretty well in the other titles. Like that would happen right in the middle of a pretty high-quality run of Iron Man where they're actually dealing with the repercussions of Tony's double life and so.
Well, it'll be exciting to see the quality pick up, hopefully, real soon in these comics. Anyway, let's move on finally to the comic we've all been waiting for today, and that is Strange Tales issue number 124. We're gonna start off with the A story here, simply titled "Paste Pot Pete." That's right, our boy is back in town.
He's back in town. Yeah,
and this title is Stan Lee and Dick Iyer. Dick Iyer's getting a co-writing credit now with him. That's good for him. That might be
I think that's purely the site because I'm not going to open it up and check, but I'm pretty sure
it probably is.
That the comic just lists Stan as the writer.
I highly doubt they would give Dick Iyers any credit.
The only times someone's ever gotten top billing over Stan still dealt it with it incredibly passive aggressively, and that was Jack.
Yeah,
because there was one time where Jack convinced him to put Jack's name first, and he talked about it in the little blurb for the writers, and then he had Jack Kirby at normal size, and then Stan Lee in giant letters below it.
Yeah.
We got
wow.
Paul Reinman on inks. Cover art's done by Dick Iyer, Steve Ditko, and George Russo's. Then we got letters by Artie Simek. June 1964 release, a 14-page story, and Dan can take us off to the races.
Okay, and brace yourself, guys, because this is going to be a wild ride.
I can only imagine.
I'm going to try and get through this without losing my breath or dying of shock,
or falling asleep because I've actually read this story.
Yeah, here we go. Paste Pot Pete, having been paroled for helping out the Avengers, good fella. Paste Pot Pete has spent his freedom creating a new outfit and weapons to make him a more formidable foe. Bum, bum, bum.
No more Bray.
Yeah, right.
Thereby immediately making Paste Pot Pete less great.
Yeah, this making him a more formidable foe makes him a more boring foe.
Yeah. Spotting the Thing flying in a fantastic car, Paste Pot attacks him and easily subdues Thing and steals the jet. Good for him. Good. I mean, he's the one who had to put down the villains because the Avengers weren't up to it. So I think he's allowed to have himself his own car. They should have given him one for free after all this help. The Torch picks up the anti-theft system on the fantastic car in its ring and leaves his bowling date with Doris, what an exciting guy, to investigate. He frees the Thing, and the two heroes quickly defeat Paste Pot and turn him over to the authorities. What a pair of dicks. Returning to the bowling alley, Torch explains the situation to Doris, who forgives him for seeming to stand her up. Doris, don't do it. He's a dick. And that's pretty much it. That's all they wrote.
And you know what? They didn't really miss anything, despite that being a 14-page story.
Wow. A lot of filler.
This was a rough one.
They didn't put filler in it. They just stretched everything. We got like 4 pages of Pete making his new costume.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they stretched everything, but they not as paste enough. Like we needed more paste action.
Yes, more paste action. This objectively was a very bad story.
Oh my god, this sucked. I actually gave this a 2. Normally, Paste Pot Pete would have saved it.
I gave it a 3 just because of Pete. But
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't justify it this time. I couldn't justify it this time.
It's just so unfair to a villain like Paste Pot Pete to be so relegated to a crappy story.
Yeah, I think I just kind of, and I know this has no bearing on stories that were written 70 years ago, but it's kind of like when you give a like on a YouTube video just because you want to encourage the creator to make more stuff. It's like, I want them to use more Paste Pot Pete stories, so I'm going to like this story with Paste Pot Pete.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I mean, he's a reasonably creative bad guy, but
he's one of the more, like, he's comically dumb on one hand, but on the other, he's one of the more creative villains they have at this point.
Yeah.
Like, they've got the actual good villains. And then of the B-tier villains, I would much rather read Paste Pot Pete than just about anyone else except maybe the Porcupine.
Yeah, Paste Pot Pete and Porcupine are right on that level together.
And Marvel needs to be paying attention to this so they come out with a villain's title that is Paste Pot Pete and Porcupine.
Oh, God, they should still do that, just like a
kind of a fun mini-series. Yeah,
a fun, like, 6-issue thing of Paste Pot Pete and Porcupine. And not having even this Trapster guys. Actually, he goes back to the Paste Pot Pete identity.
Something like the Sinister Foes of Spider-Man was.
Yeah, exactly. Just have fun with it.
I think it'd be brilliant. I mean, if they can do a mini-series about magic, they can do a mini-series about these two.
They did a fucking mini-series about Dupe. He's not even legible.
Okay.
Dupe is that weird blobby green thing that hangs around with the X-Men and speaks in a weird, like, hieroglyphics language.
They did that right before Marvel Now ended and went into Secret Wars. It was like 2014 or 2015.
Yeah, and I understand that title sold well. I didn't buy it, but it sold well, I understand.
Wow.
I mean, there was a Groot mini, too, before they made it in continuity that he could speak English.
That was a mistake, honestly.
Yeah.
Not Groot Mini, making him able to speak English.
I have the Groot Mini. It was pretty fun, but like he couldn't speak. It was a title without a character that couldn't speak English. So,
I mean,
limitations.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. One of the best comics of the '70s is Man Thing.
Yeah, it's all about how creative you are, if you can make it work or not.
Gerber's Man Thing is brilliant, and that character barely has agency.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fair. No,
I can't wait to read that.
I thought it was going to suck, and it did not suck. It was very good.
What were you going to say, Dan?
Oh, nothing. I just, I liked both Man Thing and Swamp Thing. I liked when they started sort of thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
You know, and anti-heroes and things like that. It was good.
Yeah. Nothing like a good anti-hero. Anyways, let's move on to the B story.
Time to see the dark side of thinking outside the box.
Can we? Yay.
This one is titled The Lady from Nowhere. Steve Ditko has joined our credits, of course, being the artist. The site says co-writer, but Paul went on it. Inks by George Russo's. Cover, we already did the cover for the A story, of course. Sam Rosen's letters. And 9-page story here, and we'll pass this off to Dan once more.
Okay, and again, I need you guys to brace yourself. I hope you're both sitting down. This could be more than you can take. Oh boy, the synopsis for The Lady from Nowhere. Ooh, boy, this is going to be amazing. While out in his astral form, Doctor Strange spots a mysterious spectral woman who's locked in a trance. And she can't hold back. Because he loves her too much, baby. Sorry. Channeling Elvis. Taking her back to his sanctum and casting a protection spell, Strange visits the Ancient One, who uses a magic candle to send Strange to the mystery woman's point of origin. Waxing a little poetic on that, I guess. Ending up in the ancient past, Doctor Strange battles a mystic named Zota, who is responsible for the woman's predicament. Defeating Zota and returning to his own time, Strange conjures up a spell that frees the mystery spirit, who turns out to be Cleopatra. Ooh.
Oh, dumb.
Finally, when it gets interesting, it stops. That's it. There's nothing more to the story.
Yeah, it's literally revealed like the last panel.
God.
That's so dumb.
That's the thing too. I'm reading this, waiting for this twist that Bill's been building up, and it's like it's literally in the last few panels. I was like, did I miss it?
In my defense, I built up that the twist was shit.
Yeah. No, you didn't lie. I just, it's like, look, it's Cleopatra. The end.
This comic did manage to do something though.
What, bore the crap out of us?
It managed to get around my inherent hatred of stories set in ancient Egypt by not letting me realize it was ancient Egypt until the story was over.
Yeah, there's no talking monkeys or nothing.
No,
right.
This is a pretty mediocre comic.
This sucked.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it
gave me the
sucked,
opportunity for one pun, and that's it.
I've never been so mad to read a Doctor Strange story in my goddamn life. This pissed me off. I almost gave it 1, but I get away with a 2-star. I really didn't like this.
It's not that good.
It got 2 because I liked seeing the Ancient One again, and because Steve Ditko.
I think the one thing that really bothers me about the Doctor Strange stories, and, you guys have both kind of explained it away a few times, but it's just a staggering waste of potential.
Yeah.
Of this particular character. And what they could be doing with it, as opposed to what they do with it.
The main problem...
Pages.
The main problem is he's relegated to a backup character right now, and Stan also doesn't like him, so...
Yeah. That's less of an issue because Stan's kind of having to write with what Ditko's giving him.
Well, he's selling well, so...
Yeah, and Ditko's not giving better material for it. I will say... This one got a 3 for me because I liked the gimmick of him having to follow the smoke trail of the candle back. Like, the summary didn't really go over it, but the whole idea was when he was sent to the back, he was back there as long as he could follow the trail of smoke from the candle back to it. And that was an interesting gimmick, I thought.
Yeah. I just find, like, and maybe it's just me, but again, there's so much incredible potential for a character like this. This is the character and the theme and the setting that can go so far outside the box. You can literally do anything.
That sums up Doctor Strange, though.
Yeah.
There's so much potential for this character.
Strange struggles to meet his potential ever.
Yeah. Now, I know neither of you has actually watched Ant-Man 4 yet, so I'm not going to ruin anything.
4?
Or 3? 3?
Yes.
4? 3? Whichever bloody one it is. The newest one.
He's no Thor.
Yeah, neither is Thor. But, oh boy, did they ever drop the ball. Oh my God. Talk about dropping. We talk about Doctor Strange just not meeting its potential. The writers in Ant-Man 3 completely whiffed. Just totally went, potential? I know not what this word means. I
Kane's
go in
in this movie?
direction. Oh, MODOK's in this movie.
Yeah, I knew about MODOK.
And I like MODOK.
I'd heard about it. I kind of forgot, though.
It was shown in one of the previews I saw. And I'm
bad.
like, really?
I've
They're
heard
doing
people talking
MODOK?
about how bad he looked.
Oh my God. Just,
I'll catch up eventually.
oh boy, did they fuck it up.
I mean, here's a potential hot take, but MODOK is pretty shit in the comics, too.
Doesn't matter.
But also, you can't attempt a live-action MODOK unless you can really nail it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, they missed it.
They probably
so
gave
bad.
the computer animators like 3 weeks.
No, they gave them 2 hours, and they went after 2 hours. No, we can't do it. Let's just do some Red Dwarf level special effects.
Yeah, because they're that
Shouldn't you
wasn't
have liked
really
it,
a
then?
joke on my part because they're notorious for not giving the studio enough time.
Well, they did it to She-Hulk.
They've
That was
done it
an
to
issue with
everything.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, no, the MODOK in the film, I have no idea.
Especially in this
okayed
latest phase, they've
Yeah.
been doing it more recently too.
Yeah, but whoever okayed this needs to be fired. This was just ridiculously stupid. It wasn't just that it was really bad. It was really stupid. Anybody who knows who MODOK is sat there going, what? Right? This is it?
That's MODOK.
Yeah.
On that note, let's move on to our main event of the evening. As we go to Fantastic Four, issue number 30. The issue I just finished reading while we were going through synopsises in this episode. Titled The Dreaded Diablo. We have Stanley and Jack Kirby, of course. Chick Stone's here again. He's all over the place now. Already Simics on letters. July 1964 release. And a 22-page story. And we'll give this one to Bill.
I have a very short summary, so before I dive into that, I'm going to mention why Chick Stone's been inking so much of Jack's stuff lately. At this point, Jack's been kind of checking out a lot of the stuff and has been turning in very incomplete penciling jobs at times, so they need to have someone follow along and clean it up.
Mm-hmm. That's not good. Although
he kind of burned himself out by taking on like 10 books for a while there.
Yeah, but I can see why he would have checked out on some of the stuff anyway.
Yeah, problem is it's his ideas.
Yeah, but...
Anyway, now into the dreaded Diablo. That came out wrong. While on vacation in Transylvania, the Fantastic Four get lost exploring the forests and come across an ancient castle, and they are told to stay away from it by Baron Hugo. However, that night the Thing answers a call to the castle and unwittingly frees the master alchemist Diablo.
But Hugo no further. Isn't that what he told him? Hugo no further?
I don't need this, Dan.
Miss me? It's funny that you guys actually waited for me to come back to do this. It's
not on purpose.
Genuinely funny. You go ahead and finish.
Oh my god.
Never again.
Tomorrow night.
Fuck off. We'll just put Moira in 2 panels on.
Oh. Yeah, I can do the voiceover.
She can wear a bald wig for one.
Not with Borderlands in the conversation. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, you're right. We need Dan to moderate that.
Oh god. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be much help on that one.
Anyways, let's move on with the fucking comic.
Yeah. You go.
When the FF arrive to see what happened to the Thing, they find that Diablo has almost succeeded in restoring Ben to his human form. When Reed tries to attack Ben for betraying them to Diablo, Ben defends the alchemist, hoping that he can succeed where Reed has failed. Diablo then begins selling his alchemy potions the world over and takes Transylvania under his control. Meanwhile, he tricks Ben into taking a potion that turns him into the Thing once more. Wow, the person who wrote the synopsis doesn't know what the fuck happened in this comic.
Okay.
So, to clear up the mistakes the synopsis has made, Diablo gave Ben a potion that turned him into like halfway between the Thing and his human form. And
which part of him stayed hard? Just curious.
Thing decided more than 4 hours anyway.
Ooh, contact physician.
Yeah. Thing decided to throw in with Diablo in the hopes that Diablo could.
I think I broke Ryan.
The camera's shaking enough.
If stay rock more than 4 hours, contact physician. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, Thing decided to throw in with Diablo because Diablo was making more progress than Reed ever was. So Reed tried to attack Diablo to free Ben because he figures Ben's under some sort of mind control. And Ben jumps in and defends him and then stays with him. And Diablo starts selling his potions to people all over the world, and they seem to be performing miracles. Meanwhile, Reed and the Fantastic Four have escaped, taking a sample of the potions with them to experiment on. And Reed figures out that the potions are only good for a limited period of time. Right about the same time that the potions that Diablo has been selling to basically muster power stop working. And so all the miracles he seems to have performed reverse themselves. And just at this point, he tries to give Ben another potion because Ben's not feeling well. And Ben refuses to take it because he notices he's only been feeling like crap since he started taking Diablo's potions. And then he turns back into the Thing because it was only a temporary fix that Diablo had given him. The Thing then returns to the Fantastic Four and leads them in trying to stop Diablo. When Diablo manages to capture his friends, the Thing smashes through the castle and frees his friends, and traps Diablo back in the holding cell he was originally in before bringing the castle down with one powerful punch. The torch melts the castle to slag, and the Fantastic Four take their leave, lost once again in the forest.
Thing smash.
So there they got it a little wrong, too, because Ben didn't force him back into his holding cell. He fled in there because he was so terrified of a pissed-off Thing.
Mm-hmm. So things stay hard still.
Yes.
Okay.
Things stay hard always.
God, there's so many places I could go with this.
We were limited in our Paste Pot Pete, so apparently this is the comic we're making gay now.
That's right. That's right. I behaved myself all through Paste Pot Pete. No splooge jokes.
We didn't have anything to work with.
Yeah. But it's coming quickly.
Especially when he shot Ben in the face.
Ooh.
Bill, end my suffering, please.
I ended the story already.
Thank
You're
you.
stuck with me and Dan now. You're suffering.
I didn't even realize it was done.
But he was done 3 minutes ago.
That's what set Dan on the latest round of staying hard jokes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it just stopped there, and I just read this comic.
Thing needs to team up with Paste Pot.
This barely passes with a 3.
No, not even close. I wouldn't even give it. I'd give it a 2 at best. Oh my God! It's just
this comic's. Like I said to Bill off air, this comic has moments where it's actually almost brilliant, and then it goes to being shit immediately right away, and it switches back and forth. So this one's really hard to rank, so that's why I just gave it the safety 3. But it's barely.
Yeah,
it really doesn't deserve it that much, but the moments of brilliance pushed it up. And Diablo is kind of fun, surprisingly.
Well, I agree with that, and it also benefited greatly from coming immediately after Strange Tales.
Yeah.
A competently told story suddenly made it seem really good. And I use the term competent loosely.
I broke Ryan again.
That's not ideal. They're the only ones who know what we have for next week.
So that's a good point. I should bring that up.
What's for next week, Ryan?
Well, so next week's lineup
coming up
next is some Strange Tales. Nice.
Again.
So this is where we're starting to break into some. So we're not going full yet, but we're kind of starting to break into some stretches of titles a little bit, but only a couple at a time so far. And we're gonna do Strange Tales issue number 125, the A story, and 126, the A story. And this is a 2-parter with Namor. It looks like so.
No, it's a 1-parter with Namor.
No, 1-parter. Okay. Then Deadly Duo.
I think these are just together because we haven't done Strange Tales for a while because of the two-parters and other stuff, so they've had to just kind of stick them in to get us caught up.
It's catching up time, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a Namor story, and then we're going to get a Deadly Duo story, which is the Mad Thinker and Puppet Master, so I'm sure that's going to not be good. I haven't read any of these yet, by the way, which is a surprise considering I barely finished the Diablo one. We have 2 Amazing Spider-Man
I like the
issues.
Namor story. I'll say that.
we have 2 Amazing Spider-Man stories of issues 17 and 18. A double dose of Spider-Man. Dan's excited already.
Yeah.
Then we are going to... I just want to see how much further we go. So we're gonna read our first issue of Tales to Astonish. Our first issue of Tales... oh my god. First issue of Tales to Astonish. We don't get the Hulk story here. We get the Giant Man story, don't we?
Yes, it's the Giant Man.
This
we won't
is the
get
Giant
that
Man
Hulk
story
for a
still.
long time.
It gets... it's
Giant Man gets
Giant
canceled
Man's
before
over.
we come back and get that
Yeah.
Hulk.
Oh,
That's
thank
true.
God.
So we get our next Giant Man story with issue 60 of Tales to Astonish. And then we're going to end the episode off just getting this first Tales of Suspense with Captain America and out of the way. We're going to read the A story and the B story.
We're doing both. Okay, I was going to say Captain America's not in the A story, but...
Yeah, no, he's in the B, but we're going to do both. It's 7 entries. That's where we've topped out so far, so... Yeah,
and I mean, most of these are 10-pagers.
Exactly, so that's why
I think the only long ones are the 2 Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is 2 parts of one of the first really big Spider-Man stories.
We'll get our first taste of Captain America. Dan has a really exciting episode to look forward to.
Thanks for putting it that way. That's great.
You're welcome. I knew how bad it sounded as I was saying it, but
Here's the good news, Dan.
So
What? There's good
Spider-Man
news?
18 is the end of Spider-Man.
No, you want me to think it is, but you're teasing me. He never ends. He just keeps going.
I can prove it.
We can't trick him that easily.
I'm not tricking him. I'm being honest. Here we go.
I'm not buying it.
Amazing Spider-Man 18, the end of Spider-Man.
I wish. No, I don't. You know what? I don't believe you. I don't. Hold on.
Photo evidence. I don't believe you.
Let's see, what did cranky Phil send me? Oh, I still don't believe you.
I'm tired. I'm fucking sore, and I work with fucking children.
The end of Spider-Man. No.
I told you it's the end of Spider-Man.
You're teasing. You're teasing. This is more Stan Lee taking credit for something that doesn't actually happen.
That's what he's
kind of like
at.
his film career.
Well, I'll go this far into spoiler territory. Spider-Man is retired at the end of Tales of Suspense when we end next episode.
That's crazy.
And he comes out of retirement, what, a week later?
Just like a true Carney.
Let's see, we got... After that, we'll have Strange Tales 127A story, and then Amazing Spider-Man 19 when he comes out of retirement. He's Terry Funk.
There are not enough butter tarts in the world to console me. Okay.
I wonder. 6 weeks later, Mick Foley. Let's go.
Yeah. Who's he going to be this time? Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, let's end this episode off.
Please.
I'm suffering.
Time to start my vacation. Anyway, guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment, even share you'd like to. Otherwise, we are available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and of course Spotify. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, there's a poll to click which of these comics was your favorite this week, and tell us why it was Strange Tales B story.
That's not the worst comic we covered this week.
tell us why you love Cleopatra. But anyway, guys, we'll hopefully see you tomorrow night for the bonus episode. We'll bring Moira back to talk. Well, Moira will just be talking about Borderlands a lot probably, but we swear we will talk about other games as well. And we will see you all then.
See ya.
We'll either talk about other games, or you'll get to see me getting murdered for saying that I don't get Borderlands.
Yeah. Ooh. Either way,
there will be entertainment to be had.
There will.
Anyway, guys, peace out.
Have a good one.